Men who settle for a woman who's not your type physically. How does intimacy work for you? If you're not physically into them, it's hard to force real intimacy. Some guys focus more on emotional connection and it balances out. But if there's zero attraction, it usually fades fast. Hard agree. My ex was not my type physically, but we had an emotional connection. Things went cold. Turns out she was dating people behind my back. My ex-wife had gained decent weight, but it became a real curvy body. Took me a second. But then that body type became my thing, haha. Keep an open mind, dudes. Well, this one needs to be higher, lol. We just make it work, I guess. My sex drive has come down with age and I've found the types of women who are at the peak of what I'd consider sexually desirable are often bottom of the barrel in terms of what I'd consider relationship material. There's a sick cruelty to the world in that way. Adding to it, when my own sex drive was at its peak, no woman would look at me twice. Now, with age, money, life experience, a car, all the materialistic crap, now those same women are the ones chasing me, but my sex drive has gone down so much that it's never appealing anymore. I feel all too often we, as children, were sold a fairy tale that's far from reality. There's no perfect, the one for you. You just decide who you want to make things work with and accept the other consequences. Honestly, I think the last part gets underestimated a lot. People lose themselves in the search for the one. During my last marriage, my wife would ask me why I love her so much, why I care, why I put up with her mother's drama and so on. And my response would always be, because I'm your husband. That infuriated her sometimes, because it wasn't the answer she wanted to get. I didn't mean it in a I'm stuck with you and that's my duty way, but more as a I chose you as my partner and I will always have your side. Trying to make this life the best life way. Sometimes, it isn't so much about how one looks to you, but what one does to you. One of my exes was a girl who was not exactly physically my type, but with whom I connected emotionally, and she performed well. She was enthusiastic, and she made me feel desired. She knew what I liked, and she indulged me for it. I knew what she liked. I indulged her, and I wouldn't keep my hands off her. She loved that, because it made her feel desired. We enjoyed giving and receiving pleasure. And we enjoyed cuddling afterward, whispering about nothing in particular. So, yes, an emotional connection, plus the way you make me feel, works for me, I guess. May I ask why she is your ex? Other aspects of your relationship went for a toss? Maybe you weren't his type, but there was attraction there for sure. You can be attracted to someone, but they are not your type. Oh, he absolutely refused to do anything sexual with me. But I've heard about stories where the person isn't attracted, but sex still happens, and wonder how that works. I mean, I don't know if this applies here, since I didn't have a type, but my wife wasn't a supermodel when I met her, and through the 10 years we've been together there were ups and downs in how sexy I found her, the worst being when her belly became bigger than her curves. She has since dropped over 50 pounds and I can't get enough of her body, but from the moment I met her I knew I wasn't with her for her looks. She is fun to be around, and I found myself pushing harder to become a better me because of her. I became her biggest fan and she became mine. We complement each other. I keep her emotionally stable, and she brings excitement to my otherwise boring life. I stopped chasing after the hype of having a supermodel wife, and came to accept she is a regular human, same as me. We love and support each other every day. And I could never ask for anyone other than her to be by my side for the rest of my days. Really hate the loaded nature of how people use the term settled. It's kinda derogatory. I've dated a handful of women who I'd say aren't my physical type, if we assume agreement on the premise of that term. Intimacy was typically fine. Generally, if she was into it, I always was. To say it crudely, for a straight man into straight women there's always precisely at least one thing on her body we are in the market for. To be lofty, intimacy can be a lot of things. And there's so much more to arousal than the shape / color / figure / grooming of the other person's body. Reading your responses, though, I want to parrot what someone else said. What a man's favorite porn category is loosely irrelevant to his attraction to who he dates. I don't think that's useful evidence to the root of the problem. What is useful evidence is that it sounds like you guys didn't have sex for 6 years. I couldn't imagine. That sounds like a one-off bad experience. Try to not let it cloud your future interactions. You should be looking for connection/compatibility in all the important, to you, aspects of the relationship, and be willing to leave as soon as there is unalignment in those things. To offer some advice that makes the circles in male advice: don't make romantic decisions out of fear of loss or due to not having options. Acting from a point of abundance minced grown can be helpful in those moments. If you're mentally attracted to her and love her, your body will most likely respond. I deeply loved a girl because she was crazy on the same level, but in bed, it was really difficult with her weight, and some positions were impossible. To be honest, despite my feelings for her, it was a libido crippling experience. When she cheated on me with someone else, I was disappointed and at the same time glad I didn't have to break up with her myself. What was her rough height and weight at the time? Respectfully and sincerely asking helps give me some excited perspective. Thank you. I used to like runway thin, heroin chic type women. Then I met my wife, who instead had a tiny waist paired with wide hips and thick thighs, or what a girl at a rave called slim thick. After being with her, I realized the error of my ways. I'm lucky. I'm a demisexual. My wife isn't really my type, but having a positive emotional connection with her really turns me on. Sex was good, yet unsatisfying, like cold Chinese takeout. It didn't go well, and ended up splitting. Not my type doesn't mean there is no physical attraction. If there's no attraction, there's no relationship. To you, what would be the difference between the criteria/characteristics of a person/a man's type versus characteristics of what makes a woman attractive to them, in your opinion? I've tried it, and it doesn't work. I have a sex drive, and if you don't fill it, we are not going to work. Women can get away with it because the mechanics of sex doesn't need much. For me, I can't even stay hard if I'm not attracted to you, so it won't work. Bingo. And there's so much more to getting and staying hard than people realize. Arousal is complex. Some are stimulated from an idea and shut down because of an idea too. Others from touch alone lose erection from lack of it, like starfish. Others are very stimulated visually. Most times those are mixed in different proportions. It's kind of a shame that in an era of interconnectedness most people are not making too much of an effort to understand each other on a deeper level and just treat the surface with a glance before doing the next thing on the list. I chose her because of the beautiful qualities she possesses outside of physical attraction. She's gorgeous physically, yes absolutely, but she's not someone I typically would have chased after had I been focused on physical attraction. My values and morals have changed a lot since my younger years, and I've decided she's maybe not a perfect human, my perfect match, but I can see myself growing very old and maintaining my peace forever with her. That matters more than anything. It helps that she can't touch me without my getting all fired up. Maturity is knowing you can build a fatter, but personality is hardwired. Jiffy vertical bar 3 kip bosku 1kh6 circ vertical bar downsized. Kink compatibility is way more important for me than physical looks, but it's not going well on that front unfortunately. I'm 58. When I got married to my current wife, now divorcing her, she was a bit on the thick side of what is appealing for me, but she was pretty wild in the bedroom. 3 kids later, and she ballooned so much that I had a hard time being interested, and with time, her behavior became more nagging guilt trips, martyrdom/passive aggressive behavior/gaslighting, other forms of psychological games. All of that made it worse. She thought I was low T. I was really just low her. Ironically enough, my sex drive has never tapered down. I'd finally had enough July 5th. Said I'm F done. And now the papers are already in. I was really done 3 years ago. Thought it was my duty to hold the family together. But once the anger and bitterness started spilling over onto the kids, I realized that keeping a toxic family together is not the answer. Is settling a bad thing? I know we've been told to never settle because that means giving up and compromising on our goals. However, settling can mean accepting imperfections and understanding our ideal model exists in our imaginations. What do you consider settling? Like, oh, she a brunette with C cups instead of a young Pamela Anderson who happens to be 100% natural. If you ever mad about settling, stop and think. Someone had to settle for you. If you compatible physically and get along great, consider yourself lucky. I fucked her for 10 years until my BTCH ex-wife seduced me away from her. My ex-wife was more my type attractive, but apparently also to other men. So she sold herself to a higher bidder. That was my fault. My bed. So I sleep in it every day. Average men can learn to love 2 boobs and a slimy PSSY as long as she's not purr bag ugly, he'll be content. What matters is her character as a woman, or what they call ride or die nowadays. Damn bruh. For a short time, I was in a relationship with a woman who wasn't my type, and it made intimacy difficult. But we are both very sexual and have very high sex drives, so we made it work. Honestly, I wouldn't say that I settled for her though. She was such a wonderful person that it would have been a mistake not to give her a chance, but after a couple of months, we decided that we were better as friends than as a couple. Oddly, not long after, one of my best friends asked me to come to her house for a visit, just like had happened countless times before. We talked about several things and eventually got onto the subject of failed relationships, and she said that all of hers made her feel unattractive. So I basically told her that the first time we met I thought that she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen. She said that she wished I had said something back then because she thought that I was the most attractive guy she had ever met, but in part because of her dwarfism she didn't think she had a chance. So she didn't pursue anything with me, which led to us kissing and being so blown away by the connection that we immediately started dating. A couple of weeks later, my ex-girlfriend started dating a great guy who found every curve she has sexy. We are still friends and glad that things worked out for each other. The point is that things will work out. Either you will become his thing, or things will reach a point where the physical intimacy will be just things like cuddling, holding hands, or kissing. Or you will end up finding someone who digs everything about you. Who knows, a guy that you are with could be more asexual. I love my girlfriend, but I think my physical attraction has dropped dramatically since we've been together. She's wonderful though, and I love her. I think I could act like a better boyfriend, and maybe the attraction prevents this. Why do you think it has dropped? Attraction is so much more than just physical attraction, with the expectation that looks fade over the lifetime of the relationship as we all age. I think a stronger emphasis should be placed upon intellectual attraction and emotional attraction. At the end of the day, questions should be asked as to whether or not the two of you make a great team. I don't know anyone that's been together over 20 years and they look exactly the same way they did when they met. In a perfect world, I'd date women who could be fitness models. But in reality, most women I date are significantly overweight. I learned that it's just not that important. Currently have a sex life that's out of this wood. Just don't care about seeing her in lingerie is all. How do you make yourself feel attracted to them then? I settled with my ex. I thought she would follow her goals and lose weight. I was attracted to her drive, but when her ambition to be healthy was not met with action, it damaged the relationship. We broke up unrelated to attraction, but when I look back there was such little intimacy and good sex that attraction is a big deal. Depends on everything else. Also, there is a lot of nuance and levels to it. I mean, just cause someone's not my type doesn't mean I'm not physically attracted to them. I presume you mean someone I'm not physically attracted to. Yes, this is what I've been wondering and realizing I'd like the better understand. What makes the difference in determining a type of yours or another man's versus determining they are not your type yet knowing you are still attracted to the woman? In other words, what criteria separates your type from people who you wouldn't categorize as your type yet who you are attracted to? What makes the difference to you? People have a type, and sometimes the person they fall for is not. My type is long legs, slim and long hair. My ex-wife I married and divorced. Since my relationships have been short and slim. Petite and medium build to slim side. My GF now is tall, with medium build, long hair, and sexy as hell. As we go through life, our type may change. And then again, when there is chemistry, there is no type.